If you're hearing us, stand by. We're having a little technical difficulties trying to get um, everything attached to everything here. For some reason, it's not attaching. Well, let me do this. Okay, yeah, it looks like we are live, but it has changed the links. Bear with us for just a second. Okay, we're live. Just not on the link that we planned to be on. Let me try to do this. It's always fun learning technology, guys. Oh, well. Hopefully everybody will find us. It didn't go to the original link that we were planning on. I'm going to, in the title, I'm going to tell everybody what was supposed to be there. Let me get that switched. There we go. All right. Well, welcome to the first edition of Forage Friday. Had a little technical difficulties. It didn't share to the correct link. So to everybody out there that was following our link, I apologize. That's what happens when you do this for the very first time. I'm Jeff Gasway with Barronbrook USA. I'm the Southern Territory Sales Manager in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'd like to introduce my cohort, Sam Gross. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Oh, doing great, brother. Doing great.
Well, Jeff's told you who he is. As you see, I'm Sam Gross, and I actually live in North Carolina, a little town called Siler City. If you ever watch the Andy Griffith Show, they mention Siler City on here all the time. A couple of our claims to fame is Aunt B, Frances Bobbier. When she retired from Hollywood, she actually moved to our little town, buried in the municipal cemetery. And then our other claim to fame is at one time in the early 70s, we had the largest stockyard here in Siler City, east of the Mississippi River. A little about my background. I live on a small family farm that was part of my great-grandparents' farm, so it's been in the family for over 100 years now. And I retired from Extension, North Carolina Cooperative Extension, 8 years ago. I'd like to tell everybody I've effectively failed at retirement. And it is an honor and privilege to work with Barronbrook. And so I work in the marketing department. Tell everybody I'm doing for Barronbrook basically what I did in Extension. I'm giving advice. I'm helping producers to realize their potential. Talking about our great forages that we have with Barronbrook and how they can increase your profitability, safe they are, and giving advice. Also working with our distributors and our dealers. And so I'm just having fun with this job because I'm getting to travel and see things and go places that I never thought I'd get to go see and do.
That's good introduction. And I tell you what, neither one of us are afraid to talk. Put Sam and I in the room, and who knows, this thing could last forever. No, we're planning on this lasting for about 30 minutes, guys. The sole reason we put this together was to help share knowledge in forage grasses. We both work for Barronbrook. We're wearing the colors. This is not a sales pitch. This is all about just spreading the good word, spreading knowledge about forage grasses, and at the end of the day, help producers produce more tonnage, better gains on cattle, put more money in your pocket, increase your return on investment. That's what it's all about. Sam and I both feel like this is a calling for us to, it's kind of our mission in life. We're supposed to be good stewards of what's given to us, and the knowledge given to us, we want to be good stewards with it and help pass it along to allow you all to be good stewards of your land. So here we are.
But Jeff, you talked about wearing colors. You talked about wearing the colors. And here you are in Burgundy, and yet the cow, you're a cowpoke. You are Oklahoma State, world's brightest orange. And here you are wearing Burgundy. I mean, Pistol Pete is going to be terribly upset with you.
Well, it's not crimson, but okay. It is maroon. I decided to wear the Texas A&M colors today. Not that I'm a Texas A&M fan or dislike them. I love the color, but the biggest thing is August 4th through 6th in College Station, Texas. Texas A&M is hosting their 2025 beef cattle short course. Annually, they get somewhere between 1,700 and 2,000 people that go take part in this huge opportunity for education. Lots of great events. It's actually, I think, spreads out a little bit further than that 4th through the 6th. But as Barronbrook as a company, as a team, we're going to be there in the trade show area to help answer any questions. I know you're going to get lots of great education. And when you walk out of those classes, as we all do, we have questions. So when it comes to forage grasses, we're going to be there to help answer those questions. Love to meet you. Come by. We don't charge for autographs. Those are free. But come by and see us, visit with us and say hello. Give us ideas on what you want to see for future episodes. It can be on Forage Friday, or we're going to have some episodes that we just throw up there because it's something that came up and something we thought about. Today's episode is actually going to be about cool season grasses. Sam's got a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to honestly say he's probably got more knowledge on cool season forage grasses than I do, just because of where he is. Anyways, so let's get that rolling, Sam. You ready?
Yeah, I appreciate that compliment, Jeff. I actually am located in the transition zone of the transition state between warm and cool season grasses. And what I have said for years is that here in our area, we can grow both warm season and we can grow both cool season, but we can't grow either one to their fullest potential, but we can grow both. And if you're unfamiliar with it, the United States Department of Agriculture puts out a plant hardiness zone map. And that's what I'm referring to. And so zone 7 is that transition zone. When you get up into zone 8, you're looking at predominantly warm season grasses. When you get down to zone 6 and below, you're looking at predominantly cool season grasses. However, we've got some warm season grasses that will grow in the cooler climates and give you some summer grazing. We've got some cool season grasses that will grow in those warm season climates to give you some cool season grazing. So generally, what I have seen over the course of my career and dealing with folks in extension is in a lot of farmers and ranchers, livestock producers' minds, is grass is just something that happens. It's just what nature provides for us, and so we get the animals to graze it. However, my mission has been for years that we need to look at our grass crop any other type of crop farmers, they look at what yet unfortunately a lot of our livestock producers, it's just grass happens. And we've got to get out of that mindset. Years ago, the statement was made, and it's been credited to many people, that we really should consider ourselves grass farmers before we consider ourselves to be livestock producers. And we've got to get into that mindset. And I know in the transition zone, I've always recommended somewhere between 75% of your acreage in cool season grasses, and then 25 to 30% of your acreage in warm season grasses. But the beautiful thing is, on our warm season grasses, we go in and we plant a cool season annual on top of those. And so this is farmer math right here. You've heard of women's math or wives math. This is farmer math. Then you're actually utilizing more than 100% of your acreage because you're double cropping it, and you're getting more return on your investment. So making a plan for your farm, making a plan for what you're going to plant. Another soapbox thing of mine is we should look at our pastures more in the design of a salad bar versus a salad bowl. Now, there are some places where multi-species mixtures can work and can benefit you, but I've never been a total fan of everything in a multi-species mixture. Now, we offer diversity through Barronbrook with things like our HLR orchard grass, where we're putting in 3 different cultivars of orchard grass each has just a slightly different growth habit, rooting system, that sort of thing. And so you've got the same species, but different cultivars that if one happens to fail, the others pick up. On the warm season side, our grit seeded Bermuda grass is composed of giant, Bargusto, and majestic currently. Grit, the giant comes on fast. Then the Bargusto and the majestic can come on out. And so you've got diversity within the same species. When it comes to looking at the salad bar, we're planting forages so that we can graze them at their highest nutritional value. Dealt for years with people wanting to do grass-fed beef. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to do grass-fed beef and you want a good quality tasting product, you've got to meet the NRC requirements for protein and energy at that stage of growth of that animal. And so if you're not using supplemental feed, you've got to have the best forages out there available. And shameless plug for our company, Barenbrug does offer a lot of those forages you need to meet those protein and those energy requirements at any given stage. But it all comes down to your management. You've got to manage those and manage them well. All right. So, Jeff, I have just run on because you opened the door for me. Okay.
Well, I told everybody we weren't shy about talking. So, hey, you know, something you mentioned, I was watching, you talked about being grass farmers, and I was watching a video last night. Lad Drummond, the Drummond Ranch, everyone knows Ray Drummond from her cooking show. But
yeah,
Lad,
I love to cook. I have met Ray. I use a lot of her recipes. That I have to say, if I have a hobby, it is cooking. So,
Lad, the Drummond Ranch they're doing like a mini documentary series that I've been watching lately. And last night I was watching Lad and Tim were on, and Tim said something that was very interesting to me, and I've heard it before. Cotton Leathers out the 4-6 at Frisco Creek Ranch at the 4-6s said something similar to me recently, and it just struck a chord. But Tim said, "We are grass farmers, and we use the cattle to manage our grass." And then you said it again. So, and that's a very good point.
That's exactly right. During my extension career, and I still have it, actually had a slide designed, very simple. And this, I did it originally from the early days of clip art graphics on the computer. But I had a picture of a certain type of lawnmower, and then I had a cow. I had a push mower or a reel mower, and I had a horse, and then I had another mower, and I had a sheep. That's what we're doing. We're using those animals to mow the grass, but because of their digestive system, they can digest that grass and turn it into muscle, into protein, protein that we can eat. But here's the thing. I've never seen a cow. I've never seen a horse. I've never seen a sheep or a goat that has a knob with a height adjustment on their side. All my lawnmowers have a height adjustment that I can adjust to adjust the height of that deck so that I can mow at certain heights. And I've never seen that on an animal. So where does the height adjustment for cutting come from? It comes from you and me. Our management, we have to manage those animals and manage our grazing heights. And I'll give a shout out to Gallagher, because hopefully we're going to be starting doing some things with Gallagher. So your fencing and how you control your animals and their grazing is vitally important. Here's the thing. The leaf of the plant, of the grass, is the solar collector for the plant. That's where photosynthesis occurs. And if you go out there and you let them graze all the leaf surface off, or you're cutting hay and you cut off all the leaf surface, that plant is going to struggle. You're stressing it out. If you leave a little bit of leaf where it can carry on photosynthesis, it's going to shoot right back up and start growing again. So that grazing height is vital, and leaving, depending on your species, leaving some grass there. Now Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm on a roll right now.
I'll keep rolling, brother.
Talking about getting ready to plant cool season grasses. Now, this is zone 7. This is zone 6. If you get up north in zones 4 and 5 on cool season grasses, spring plantings tend to work. But when you get into any environment where you're going to have 3, 4, 5 weeks of extremely hot temperature, here's the thing about cool season grasses. They go semi-dormant in the summer. They do not exhibit full dormancy like warm season grasses do. So if you've got Bermuda, you got crabgrass, frost hits it, boom, it's gone. It is full dormancy. But warm season cool season grasses never exhibit full, it's called semi-dormancy. In the summer, when the temperatures start getting hot, you have a root system. And this is something I have said. I actually, before extension, taught school for 10 years. And I have said this for 4 decades. I know I don't look that old, but I've said it for 4 decades. The roots are out of sight. Therefore, they're out of mind. And if you don't have a good, strong root system, your cool season plant will not survive the heat. So planting in the fall, because another little factoid is, as long as soil temperature is above 45 degrees, roots will grow. Even though you may not be getting vegetative growth up top, as long as soil temperature is 45 and above, and you've got adequate phosphorus in the soil, and I know phosphorus is a bad word, but phosphorus is the nutrient that stimulates root growth, you will get roots growing. And therefore, come spring, when it starts vegetatively growing, you've got a root system big enough to handle that plant. And then when it goes semi-dormant, you've got enough strength there. Also, a key is you don't want to graze that new grass until that root system is developed enough to keep it from being pulled out of the ground. So waiting as long as you can and then lightly grazing it during that first year of establishment can be vital. Another issue with fall planting is if you're spraying a residual herbicide in the summer. I was pesticide education coordinator for 25 years. The label is the law, and read the label, because there may be a planting restriction on there. And if you got a residual herbicide you're putting out and you plant too soon, that residual herbicide can affect those seed germinating. So make sure you've read that pesticide label and that you know what your planting restriction is, and don't plant too soon or don't spray too late, whichever way you want to look at it. I've seen way more seed failures from that than just about anything. Well, the number one reason for seed germination failure is it got planted too going to be herbicide misuse.
Yeah, Sam broke up there for real quick. But if what he's saying is the number one seed failure was seed being planted too deep. But he's exactly right.
But number 2 is probably going to be herbicide misapplication.
Yes. See a lot of both out there. And it's not always the seed. It's normally not the seed's fault. I know, not to talk about controversial things, but a lot of people want to blame seed, and it's not always the seed's fault. So, and normally it isn't.
Well, that's one thing that I do love about the culture of Barenbrug. They hire people like Jeff and I with experience, where we can tell people, and we're empowered to tell you how to do it the right way and encourage you to do it the right way. I've been able to tell people, no, you're not ready to plant. Your soil's not ready. You're not ready. This is the wrong time of the year to plant. And the company wants us to do that because we want you to be successful with our seed. We want you coming back buying Barenbrug seed because it turned out so great for you that you want to put more in. Not because I won't call any names, but you've all seen the commercials on TV where there's a certain company and encouraging you to plant cool season grasses in the spring in your yard. And I'm sorry, for years I just see those commercials and my wife can tell you, I just scream because it upsets me so bad because they are just trying to perpetuate their market by telling you to do it the wrong way. And not calling any names, but the commercials are all over TV.
Well, if you do it the wrong way, you get to sell more seed, and that's there are some people out there that see that and they think, well, if they do it wrong, we'll just sell them more seed. We don't want you to do it wrong. We want you to do it right.
Do it right. And come back and more of our seed into more acreage.
Yep. That's the whole purpose for us coming on here once a month talking to you. Talking about, you said something that made me think of this. You said you weren't ready to plant. One of the things that you really ought to do, and Sam, I'll let you talk more into it, we really need to do a soil test. Not the day before planting, but how long before planting?
6 months is actually going to be ideal. I mean, at least 6 months, because here's the point. If you need lime, it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year for that lime to activate and neutralize the acid in the soil. So the sooner you can do it, depends on what book you read or who you listen to. A soil test, and I grew up with, if you do a soil test every 4 years, and now I'm on clay soils with a lot of aluminum ions, which tend to make the soil go more acidic. You may be on a soil that has limestone in it, and you never, ever have to worry about it. You may actually have to worry about soil becoming too alkaline. And here's the thing, and we'll talk about this. We're going to do a Forage Friday and talk about soil fertility, and I'll actually have some slides to show you. But having a too low of a pH and having too high of a pH actually affect the plant in the same way. The major nutrients that are needed get bound up. It actually releases the trace elements. And so you end up a lot of times with trace element toxicities, which mimic major nutrient deficiencies. And the only way that you can tell is by a soil test. And then if the plant's actively growing and you're seeing it, then you can send it into your local university or to your Department of Agriculture, and they may actually be able to do a tissue sample on the leaf to see exactly what nutrients are there. That does cost a little bit of money, but a leaf tissue sample gives you exactly what the plant has or does not have. So soil testing, there is a bad extension joke that it's a self-deprecating joke about the farmer who wants to raise chickens. He goes out, tills up his ground, plants eggs. They all sit there and rot. He says, well, maybe it's just not the eggs. So he goes, buys biddies, plants some feet down. They all die. He goes and plants biddy face down. And I don't mean to upset any. It's a joke, folks. Head down, they die even faster. He walks into the extension office, tells the extension agent what he's done. The first words out of the extension agent's mouth are, well, have you done a soil test? We know that that's not how you raise chickens, but that is the importance. That just goes to signify the importance of soil testing. Gotten in trouble for saying this before, but I'll say it anyway. A soil test to us, to agronomists, forage agronomists, livestock agronomists, it's just like going to your local doctor for your checkup and him sending you to the lab after the checkup where they draw blood and they start looking at things going on in your blood chemistry. You can describe your symptoms to your medical doctor, but then he's going to run tests. He's going to run blood work and do those sorts of things to finally diagnose the issues. A soil test is lightly equivalent to a blood test at the doctor's office. And so it's telling us what your soil got. Oh, I'll just put out 2 tons of lime to the acre. I'll throw out this amount of fertilizer. Well, good luck. You may put out not enough. You may put out way too much. It's going to cost you money. If you put out way too much, it's going to cost you production if you don't put out enough. And so the only way is through having a legitimate soil sample. Every state, through their land grant university or the Department of Ag, do soil testing. folks, I have people all the time say, well, I went and bought a soil test kit off Amazon or at Walmart or wherever. I've got a master's degree in ag education. I had to take chemistry at NC State. I am not about to try to do a soil test off one of those kits. I am going to depend on the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to do my soil test, because they have all the equipment, they have all the computers. They had their tests are reliable. I do not consider a home soil test kit to be reliable. Won't use them myself.
Right. Great point. Going back to earlier, we talked about, species that we can interseed in Bermuda grass or overseed for fall forage. Talk about some of the different species that we can use for forages. It doesn't have to be, for permanent stands, for perennials, annuals. Go over a little bit of that with us.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me give you this definition. An annual is a plant that completes its life cycle in one growing season. If your teacher in biology in high school taught you that an annual was a plant that lived for 1 year, they taught you wrong. An annual is a plant that completes its entire life cycle in one growing season. And it may stretch out over 2 calendar years. For example, our cool season annuals, we plant them in the fall. They start to grow vegetatively. Then the following spring is when they really put out a flush of vegetative growth and then produce seed. They go into the reproductive state. So it's one growing season, not year. A perennial is a plant that comes back from its own root system year after year. Now, we do have some annuals that are prolific self-seeders, and they are annuals, but they will act like they're perennial because they come back from their own seed. A great example of that is our Mojo Forage crabgrass, which is a blend of Red River and Impact varieties. But it produces enough seed, and if we shatter those seed off, then we can manage it like it's perennial, even though botanically it is an annual. All right, but then we have those true annuals, and a great one for the South, even up to the Midwest, is going to be our jumbo annual ryegrass. It is a tetraploid. It's going to have good sugars to it. It's wide bladed, dark green color, very high. I have a friend of mine in extension, and I'm just going to use her term. It's like jet fuel for your livestock because of the sugars. It's very palatable. The one jumbo was actually bred by the University of Florida, but it has some of the greatest cold tolerance that I have seen of any annual ryegrass. Even though it came out of Florida, it's bred for cold tolerance. Here in North Carolina 2 years ago, we got down to 0 and almost below 0 over Christmas, an extended cold snap for us. My jumbo that I had planted, it burned it. It slowed it down, but then as soon as we got a little bit of warm weather, it grew right back out of it. Other annual ryegrasses that I've seen and some that I had in the yard sat there. And the jumbo decides, hey, it's warmed up, I'm growing. And so some people that had planted some others had it to freeze out, but jumbo never did. And so if you've got Bermuda grass, if you've got a crabgrass pasture, this is a time to plant annual ryegrass. Now, ryegrass and cool season grasses, because annual ryegrass is a cool season fescue, and we've got a variety of fescues. And another Forage Friday, we will really focus on our Bar Optima Plus E34 soft leaf beneficial endophyte fescue. Say that fast 5 times. I practice it.
That's a mouthful, Sam.
I stand in front of the mirror and I say Bar Optima Plus E34 soft leaf beneficial endophyte fescue. All right, that is a whole Forage Friday in itself. And you might say, well, we're talking about cool season. Why don't you talk about it now? Because honestly, you're too late. You got to start preparing to plant it back in May, especially if you've got toxic tall fescue out there. So we're 6 weeks away from when the ideal time in a lot of areas is to start planting this. But if you've got grass, necessarily recommend mixing a cool season annual into it, mainly because the cool season annual is going to out. It's a good place where you're growing a warm season, perennial or annual. There's we can mix in there some other strategies because Barenbrug does offer a line of brassicas. Our Barcamp Forage Turnip, T-Raptor Hybrid Brassica, Barsica Forage Rape. And these are a great fall planting where then we mix in and we continue with something like one of our annual ryegrasses, Jumbo Maximus. We also have Ribeye, which is a diploid annual ryegrass. Again, we have a lot of choices for the production system that you choose. And again, as a company, Barenbrug brings to the market people who can work with you and work with your production system and point you in the right direction.
You know, Sam, you mentioned softleaf tall fescue, and I wish I'd taken a video of this. Recently, we had a turf field day in Oregon, and yes, I work the turf side too.
Right.
Spend a lot of my time in turf, but personally, we raise cattle and been involved in forage production. So I took some of our customers through some of our forage plots, and I had them run their hands through our Bar Optima softleaf tall fescue. Beneficial endophyte softleaf tall fescue. I'll say it right, Sam. Don't throw things at me. And I had them run their hands through that. And then we went down to the end of a plot and we had another variety. It's not one of ours, but we had a variety that was not a softleaf, and I had them run their hands through that. And they said it was like reaching into the dishwasher, unloading the dishwasher and grabbing hold of steak knives versus grabbing hold of a butter knife. That was the explanation they gave on how the difference felt. And I should have taken a video, but then I told them, I said, can you imagine chewing on that versus chewing on the softleaf? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that in my mouth.
When we do a Forage Friday and we focus on that, and again, this is our preview. This is getting off the ground, but I will have a picture to show you a magnification. Yeah, magnified leaf margin. And on Kentucky 31 and basically everybody else's tall fescue, what you're going to see is it's the leaf margin or the edge of the leaf is going to look like a Ginsu knife. But when you see the magnification of Bar Optima with our soft leaf technology, basically we have bred away most of those barbs. There's still a barb or two there, but nothing like on a typical tall fescue. And so that is one of the things, and plus some lignin has been bred out. And so it makes it very soft, very palatable. I guess it's all right. I will mention Dr. Matt Poore at NC State. He's one of our beef cattle specialists. He's actually planted toxic tall fescue and all the novel or beneficial endophyte fescues in 5-gallon buckets. And when he has those programs that I'm at, I can actually take people I'm talking to over to the buckets and tell them to fill up leaves. And 90% of the time they can pick out Bar Optima just by the feel of it. And so it does. We bring some great technologies and enhanced technologies to the market. And, you know, Jeff, we hadn't even mentioned our yellow jacket seed coating.
We probably ought to make a video that talks about that yellow jacket. Yellow jacket seed coating is there's a lot of seed coatings out there, and there's a belief out there they coat seed to cut the actual pounds of seed in a bag is why they coat it to add weight. Well, I'm not going to lie. There was a point in my career where I kind of thought the same way. I sold against coatings, but I have been enlightened. I have seen the light and been preached the gospel, and I'm a true believer now. Yellow Jacket brings more to the table than just coating seed.
Our yellow jacket, it's not coating, it's a germination aid.
You cut out. You cut out there, Sam. You cut out there.
Oh, sorry. I've got better internet than I've ever had, but it's still not perfect. Our yellow jacket is a germination aid. When you're looking at all the polymer coatings, yes, they increase seeding rates because of it. But with our yellow jacket, our seeding rates barely increase over a non-coated variety because it is a germination aid. It's a cornstarch derivative. It can absorb up to 600 times its weight in water. Years ago, as an extension agent, I was encouraging some of my producers. I got some forward-thinking producers to plant a certain variety of seeded Bermuda grass. Right after they planted it, it turned dry. The Bermuda grass never came up. Crabgrass, Dallas grass took it over, and so they wasted their money. Come to find out, a lot of your seeded Bermudas are hard to get to germinate. Well, about that time, I read in a magazine about this yellow jacket that this company Barenbrug was introducing. And as a matter of fact, one of the universities to test it was my alma mater, North Carolina State University. I also have to say another university to test it was my wife's alma mater, the Ohio State University. And yes, I have been taught to say the Ohio State University. Then New Mexico State University tested it, as well as Barenbrug and Barenbrug Holland. And it is truly a germination aid. And so seed will germinate better. And I've had people to argue with me, say, well, there's a germination rate on the tag. Well, that germination rate is through ideal circumstances. Well, when you plant in the field, you're not planting into ideal circumstances. And so even though the tag may say 90% germination, when you plant into the field, you're not getting 90% germination. You got birds eating the seed. You've got seed drying out because there's not enough moisture around the seed coat. A lot of reasons that seed won't germinate. But with yellow jacket, the azuba will absorb up to 600 times its weight in water. We've added a little bit of fungicidal package to help protect it from dampening off and other fungal diseases, a little extra nutrient package. Remember, the endosperm in the seed is a nutrient package to get that seed germinated. And if that seedling uses up all that endosperm that's in the seed before it can get roots established, that radical going down in the soil with root hairs, it's going to die. And so we help prevent a lot of those issues. Now, not all of our seed are coated in yellow jacket. We can't coat Bar Optima and some other seed, but any seed that we can safely coat, we are putting our yellow jacket on it. And for some of our clovers, if you're interested in organic production, we also have our nature jacket, which is OMRI approved for a seed coating. But we'll do another Forage Friday on that. We said 30 minutes, and we're running close to 45. I love to talk about seed. I love to talk about growing grass to feed livestock. So I get paid to go on vacation a lot of times.
Well, we'll take a few of those minutes off because we did have some technical issues. The video didn't link quite like we thought it would. So, yeah, we're going to run over just a little bit today. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and some may say it's controversial, I don't know, but I hear a lot of people talking about price. If you go to a car lot or a clothing store, there's going to be a price difference in quality. If I want a good jacket or a good shirt, like I'm wearing an Ag Gear shirt today, if you want a good shirt, then you're going to pay a little bit more price for that good shirt. It's going to last. It's like these are breathable. They last a long time. If I want a cheap shirt, I can go get a cheap shirt. That's not going to last nearly as long. So my return on that investment, if I spend $80 on a shirt that's going to last me 5 years, or I spend $40 on a shirt that's going to last me a year, what's my return on investment? You know, that $80 shirt just got real cheap when you think of, you price that out, you spread that price out over the 4 or 5 years versus the 1 year. And people look at seed the same way. A lot of times people go into their local, feed store or local co-op, and they ask for, hey, I need a Forage Bermuda grass. And they walk out with the BNS common.
A good example of what you're saying, well, this is what one way I've always put it. I mean, a Lexus is an upgraded Toyota, an Acura is an upgraded Honda. But now let's speak cattle. I mean, you go XL, but then you can upgrade to the XLT. From the XLT, you can upgrade to the Lariat. From the Lariat, you can go King Ranch Edition Lariat, and you're going to get all the bells and whistles. We are sort of that upgraded seed. And, but to put it in practically, I want to use Mojo. All right, so Mojo is a blend of Red River and Impact. R.L. Dalrymple, when he was with the Noble Foundation, he did all the breeding on the crabgrasses, forage crabgrasses we have. Well, Mojo is not its own variety. It is a blend. It is Red River and Impact. The reason we do the blend is Red River, excuse me, is an earlier maturing variety, whereas Impact is later maturing. And so therefore we're keeping quality up over the entire grazing season. Also, our Mojo is yellow jacket coated. So you can just go buy Red River, but it's going to come uncoated, or at best a polymer coating. But then come late July, it's really going to start to peter out. Whereas if you have Mojo, then mid-July on, the Impact is really going to start growing and take over. When we do a Forage Friday on this, I've got some great pictures to show from South Georgia, from Tifton, Georgia, that just shows this and it explains it very visually. So you see, we've got a lot of material that we can cover on our Forage Fridays and showing the impact of having higher technology forages in your operation.
So what I hear you saying, Sam, is sometimes spending a little bit more money will get you longer grazing and probably even more yield and more on your cattle.
Here's the problem. I was not an agronomy major. I was not an animal science major. I was an ag ed major. And yes, I actually taught high school vocational, and back in my day, it was still called vocational agriculture. You see, being an ag ed major, I'm looking at the big picture. I'm not looking at it from an agronomics point of view. I'm just looking at it from an animal science point of view. I'm looking at the big picture of how the two tie in together. I'm not putting anybody else down, but it's a big picture scenario. It's not one or the other. It's a combination of both.
Yep. Well, hey, I think our time's about wrapped up here. We are approaching an hour long. We promised you we were going to keep it shorter than that. We will be posting some videos on this channel. And then every month you can catch up with us for the official Forage Friday. But in between, if you have questions, reach out to us. Would love to hear your thoughts, your suggestions on episodes, questions that you have. If we get enough questions on certain topics, we'll get together and we'll throw out a video out there. So you may see more stuff other than just the Forage Friday, but we're here to help. That's what it's all about. And that's what, like I said earlier in the beginning, that's really what Sam and I's calling is we want to be here to help you out. It's our small role in helping put food on America's plate.
Thanks, Jeff. And thank y'all all for listening. And we're here to help.
Thank you, Sam. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.